Hi, you guys. I might talk a little fast because I feel like I have my entire story, everything that has ever happened, every decision, every relationship I've ever had has led me here to this moment. And this is what I came to do. This is my purpose. I'm absolutely certain of what that is.
Sorry.
And this tiny bit of background, you know, people have got a strong example of my wanting to expose the lies of religion and to just stop pretending that this was ever true. And egos have been offended. And that's okay though. I have coyotes. They're welcome. And or ghosts or something, ghosty coyotes. But that we're I'll just go to that because I got distracted. But I grew up in the most perfect environment with the best parents, the perfect siblings, the best neighbors for me, for my salvation story. It was perfect. Nobody sinned. No one did anything wrong. Every character in my story was me playing to me, for me, playing my own resurrection story. I had a Catholic mother, atheist father, and I grew up in a Mormon neighborhood. And my victim story, my victim line, my favorite line, it was mostly because it got a laugh and it got attention, is that it was like being a black Jewish lesbian. But I was saved because of this experience. And when I look at my mother played a Catholic mother in a Mormon neighborhood with 5 kids she didn't want, but she really liked sex, but she was ashamed of it. And my mother got married because she was pregnant and settled for what she thought she settled, and but lived the life she believed was the only life she was offered and could live. She did that as me. I was my mother. I'm all the characters. But that character, to play that character, so I get to play the one that knows who I am in this moment, the one that gets to realize that we are all Christ, was the most loving thing she could ever do. She didn't sin, she made no mistakes. She was a perfect mother. And I absolve every mother out there from any guilt that's been played. Your children chose you. Everybody we're in relationship with, we're there by agreement. We're acting out what we asked to be seen. Jesus asked to be crucified, or to be seemingly crucified, so he could demonstrate that crucifixion is impossible. You can't kill your divinity. You can't put it in a body and make it evil and hate it. You can't bury it in the ground and make your divinity go away. You can't seemingly suffer. And you can't be cut off from love. You can never be cut off from a relationship. So the lies of religion are right here. Our relationship with our divinity was severed, cut off, tarnished, altered. Divinity is pissed. And your ass is in big freaking fucking trouble. I'm not going to... I say the F word. Get over it. Words are symbols of symbols, twice removed from reality. Anyway, so and that our loving Father kicked us out of paradise for that choice. So the lies of the serpent. The lies of the serpent are the lies of religion. Religion is our serpent, but it's our serpent. We made it up. We collectively chose to go deeper into illusion. It was an innocent choice. There's no one to punish. There's no debt owed. We're not evil or bad or guilty for believing in our own programming, for believing the lies of the serpent we invented. What did the serpent tell us? Choosing duality, the tree of knowledge, the eating from the tree of good and evil, tarnished your relationship with your divinity and made you bad. And now you're kicked out of heaven. And what did they tell us was the cost of that? How do we get back that relationship? They took the story Jesus told of revealing a God of love. The story that we're all equal sons and daughters of God, children of God, that He had nothing we didn't have. And that relationship is not in religion. It's not in government. He studied all the religions, and he looked at what the government was doing. And he said, that's not your salvation, the government, and that's not your salvation, religion. What's our salvation? Acknowledging the untarnished, unsevered relationship with our divinity in its virgin, unaltered state. The body is nothing. Virginity of the body means nothing. Overvaluing virginity has turned the pussy into a commodity, and women feel guilty for sharing it unless they do it in this box that men who made up religion said you can only share the pussy here or you're evil, bad, wrong, dirty, tarnished, unworthy of God. We've done nothing. We can't do anything to tarnish that relationship. You can't tarnish it. So what do we do? Well, I went to Catholic church for 11 years. And all throughout religion is those three lies. That's religion. That's the lies of religion. Your relationship with your divinity is tarnished. Your divinity's pissed. You're kicked out of heaven. Suffering, sacrifice, and death is your payment and the only way back. But then there's all these rules of insane behavior, so you actually can't really buy back your stolen innocence because nobody follows those rules of insane behavior. There's no payment you can give that will relieve that guilt you feel for your stolen innocence. But we stole it from ourselves because we decided we wanted to play our game of the tension of opposites longer. We wanted to remain in illusion. That's why there's a second coming. Our brother, friend, and equal, Jesus, was the first coming. And his story is this: I was not crucified. I did not suffer. There is no sin. You can't kill God. You can't kill divinity. You can't cut off holy relationship. If we were cut off from our being, we wouldn't exist. So let's lighten this up. Because what happened? We forgot to laugh at this shit. Oh, okay, so we're going to just look at it a little differently. So Jesus, he's our brother. And Christ is playing every single solitary character. Christ played Jesus, Hitler, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Brother Trump, who I'll get to in a minute. It's Christ playing all the characters. So Christ wrote all the characters. Last night I was having a little revelation about this, and I was imagining Christ having all these TV screens. Just like, go, oh, I'm going to watch, this show. Oh, this one's more, and Patrick and I were having this great fun wild sex, and I'm like, well, this is more fun to watch than some Christian feeling guilty, thinking their relationship with their divinity is cut off, so I'd be watching that show. So if the world is our video game, our Hollywood movie, there's hints of what it's for everywhere. We put ourselves asleep to knowing we're God for the sheer delight of remembering, to amuse ourselves. What went wrong? We forgot to laugh. What's going on in our world? What's going on out there? Because of the lies of religion. Your divine relationship is cut off. You're guilty because of it. The only way back, to buy back this fake, false, hideous unworthiness that is everywhere, is to either have religious or worship the God of more and get a bunch of shit. We're not saved by that. The only salvation we need is recognizing that we're in no need of salvation. What saves us? The acknowledgement of that relationship. Papi, I acknowledge our unaltered, untarnished, unsevered divine relationship, and the experience of the character of Roxie has nothing, can do nothing to that relationship. The experience of the character of Roxie, and why Roxie's behavior seems bold and brazen and brash and outrageous, is because that story is part of the whole. All the behaviors that we have been told tarnish our divinity, Roxie is saying, I'm doing them all, and my divinity, my divine relationship is right here. It is safe, it is untarnished, it is unaltered. And how I experience that is I extend that to you. I don't have the arrogance to say, you're not listening to your guidance. I can't say if Trump's not listening to his guidance. Playing a heinous villain to expose the insanity of the worshiping of good and evil is a huge service. His contribution is mighty. We can't say no to insanity by keeping it hidden. So I'm just going to tell you the difference between a Republican and a Democrat, so you know for future reference. A Republican is like an alcoholic. An alcoholic will just steal your money and lie about it. But Democrats are like drug addicts. Because they have this false do-gooder, I'm on the real good side, belief, they're like drug addicts. They will steal your money and help you look for it. The illusion of a good and bad side, the illusion that one side can save me and another side can condemn me, is bloody insanity. And to turn it on and to hate the side, what's politics for? I feel like shit. I'm going to take this shit that I feel, this guilt that stems from the belief, the fake lie, the lie of religion that my divinity is tarnished. And what do people do when they feel their divinity is tarnished? They either try to steal it back. I'm half a person. I need to cling to and control and possess and manipulate another body to feel whole again. I need to dress a certain way or do these certain behaviors or go to this place on Sunday. If you go to church to buy back your stolen innocence, it will never work. You'll never get your relationship back with God if you feel you don't deserve it. The lies of religion tell us we're unworthy of that relationship, that we've harmed it, and we must pay. We must be punished. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to find an evil villain that can pay for that belief. But no one's guilty. The priests aren't guilty. The nuns aren't guilty. The ministers aren't guilty. In spite of the lies of religion, I went to church. I had church because I had a priest who believed in that relationship. In spite of the dogma, in spite of that, he felt that relationship. I've always felt that relationship. And I was like, no, you can't be telling us that's God. I feel God. God doesn't hate us. God doesn't judge us and watch us. God says, honey, you can put that controller down to your video game anytime you want. But there's another choice besides that. And that's the choice we're being asked now. So if we imagine we are on a couch playing a video game that we made because we wanted to pretend. We wanted to just pretend, to have an experience of opposites. Look at our amusement parks. Look at, all the things we do for this experience of extreme. Every extreme experience we've ever had, we've had within the wholeness of our divine relationship. But we judge this side as good and this extreme as evil. Kink. I'm kinky sexually. I watch people orgasm and receive intense pleasure from pain. I've judged people who take a lot of pain because of my belief that pleasure is good and pain is bad. Every experience we've ever had, we've had in wholeness. You can't leave that relationship. So I'm out of time, kind of, but I gotta get back to church. So we don't need to not have church. But if anybody who goes to church because they think going to church and tithing and do-gooder behavior, that behavior buys back the divine relationship, then you'll never, ever get it back. Because you think you have to earn it back through behavior. All you have to do is acknowledge it. So rather than go to church to buy back our stolen innocence, let's go to church and honor the divine relationship that we all share. God is relationship. Mary received divinity for all of humanity. Jesus walked a body. He wasn't God and we're not. He was human. He shit, he farted, he fucked. He played, he laughed. He screamed, he got pissed. And he didn't mamby-pamby the ego. Have you heard him in A Course in Miracles when he goes Stephen King on the ego? But what have we done with the ego? We made of it real. The end of suffering is when you say, I stand as the character of Roxie, uncrucified by any relationship I've ever willingly participated in. Adultery, rape, incest, date rape, whatever you want to call it, prejudice, religious persecution, whatever, none of it crucified me. This story of good and evil crucifies no one. God's Son is not crucified. Divine relationship is resurrected by our acknowledgement that it never left. Thank you so much for the part you're playing, because your story, exactly as it is, every decision you've ever made is essential to my salvation. So thanks for coming. Hey God.